Hello, welcome to What the Feminine, where we will show the world how to have crucial, nuanced conversations and how healthy feminine and masculine embodiment are the gateway to global healing. I'm Nicole George, the CEO and founder of Sovereign Magazine. As the host and moderator of this show, I'd like to remind our guests and our audience that the questions posed in today's episode are neither a reflection of my personal beliefs, opinions, thoughts, or ideologies, nor of Sovereign Magazine. They are simply a guide for us to go deeper into our own constructed beliefs and ask ourselves, how can we remain open and curious to being recoded to a more compassionate, cohesive way of living? The content in this episode could contain references to topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering for you. So please honor yourself and inner knowing. Our show is never a substitute for any professional guidance. Please always seek the guidance of a certified professional. Today we have three incredible guests from all around the globe. They will be shortly introducing themselves today and letting us know where they're calling in from. Okay, why don't we start with Velva?
Well, thank you, Nicole. I'm excited to be here again with a powerful group of women. So, my name is Velva Silver, and I am from High River, Alberta, Canada. And my passion is coding people. I used to code medical records, and now I'm coding the DNA of people and helping people remember the light language, the coding, their power, and just shifting out of the matrix. So that is who I am, helping many women with courses, and I am an author and love to write. So thank you.
Yes. All right, Eva.
Likewise, very glad to be here in this wonderful, powerful group of women. I am Eva Alexandre. I'm not too far from Velva, Kelowna, BC, Canada. And my passion is building business structures that are completely resonant with everything that is around the business owner. And that includes the vision of the business owner, the dreams, the desires of the business owner, fully understanding the marketplace where the business owner is actually operating, the team, the processes, the communication, building everything that is in a complete resonance so that it just becomes magnetic and the business starts working for you rather than with you or whatever, rather than being a hustle. So, yeah, this is my passion, and I'm glad to share bits of it today as well.
Yes, thank you. And we have Abby, and I think you might be able to figure out where she's from. Go.
Hi, I'm Abby Teixeira, and I am actually in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So, hello, Canadians again. I am a speaker, I'm a published writer and author, I'm a trauma recovery coach and a feminine business mentor. I'm also a complex trauma survivor turned fierce advocate. And best of all, I'm a mama of four beautiful little babies, ages 7 and under. So you can imagine how intense life is. And my life's work is really helping cycle breaking women and femmes, especially women, mothers, healers, coaches, creatives, really of the global majority. So that we're talking Black, Indigenous women of color to really step into their truth, into their power, and lead from out of survival into abundance in all areas of their lives is something that I've been able to create in my own life. And it's such an honor and privilege to be able to turn around and help others do the same. My work blends identity shifting, transformational coaching, ancestral wisdom, feminine leadership, and really it's just about reclaiming their voice, their power, their purpose. And I'm also the founder of the Healing Mama Collective and Reclaim and Rise gatherings. I truly believe that, I deeply believe in that our lived experience really holds the medicine that the world needs. And so I'm really honored to share my own unique lived experience medicine today with all
Oh
of you.
my gosh. As you can see, we have absolutely incredible guests today. And guess what we are talking about? The rise of soul-led entrepreneurs, which all three of these gorgeous women are. And I always love to start our show, combining words here, with defining what that means, right? So what does a soul-led entrepreneur mean to you, or maybe look like or feel like for you? Who wants to start?
I'll share quickly. For me, when I think of soul-led entrepreneur, I think of somebody who has a mission and a calling in their life. I think of myself, the work I do has like it's beyond me, it's bigger than me. And it's really led by my heart and passion to really want to create impact in the world. And because like I said, I'm a mama of four and I have a very full, beautiful life. And my when I wake up in the morning and I think of my why, first and foremost is my children, and then, the people that I want to be able to affect and impact. And that really is what motivates me, and to be able to see, transformation right in front of my eyes. It's really soul-led for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, just to add on that, it's just something that you cannot even imagine not doing. It's like something beyond you just pushes you into this direction, and there's no other choice but just to continue doing what you're doing and following that passion, following that soul calling, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Like, there's no way for somebody to describe it until they've experienced it, right? Velvet.
Exactly. Even based on my own personal story, I've been pushed by like it's always like I resisted my calling for 3 times, and the last time I was like, okay, that's it, I got it. I could finally got it. So now I cannot even imagine my life being in any other way. And the most interesting part about the soul-led business is that all of the steps are unfolding before you. It's almost like you don't really truly need to plan it. It's just unfolds in front of you, and you just take those steps every single time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's you get all these nudges and I call them breadcrumbs or puzzle pieces that I have to like put together. It's not just this perfectly planned out way of doing things, right? Like we have
Mhm.
to I feel like my puzzle pieces are in different time zones and planetary constellations and I have to figure out how to get them together. But I do. They all come together. What about you, Velvedon?
So everything everybody said is so true. It's like you get this push, you understand that there's guidance. And it's like the first initial break sometimes can be the biggest step you'll take because your ego comes in loud. And I know that when I was working at the hospital and I was about to get a promotion, and I told my boss I was leaving, and she said to me, "No, you can't leave." But I could feel it in my heart. And I'm like, I'm going to get sick if I stay here and keep doing this job. And my dad was like, you're going to lose your pension, right? And I had all this external noise. And it was the first time I had to really dive in deep and follow my heart. And I had to say, I'm doing this. And it was internal alignment, but it was the biggest breakthrough for me in the beginning because I had a lot of external negativity about what are you doing? You're not even using your schooling. You're not using your education. And I'm like, well, I already have all the medicine within me and it's all unwinding. And now I'm going to share that with the other people. So that's what I think about that.
Yeah, I'm going to build upon a couple of things. And so I'll share with you both of the questions so that you can think about how you'll respond to them. But I want to talk about the difference between a soul-led business and a conventional one to start, just so that we can kind of help people understand the difference in those concepts as it leads into what is necessary to continue that soul-led business and from a soul-led place? Because we often can find some tension between some subjects, right? Like our financial goals, but staying in spiritual alignment. So as those questions kind of culminate together, maybe you could share with the audience a little bit about like when you've worked in corporate versus now that you've run this soul-led business, how all of those things come together and how do you stay in alignment when we do have the conflicting world?
Mm, mm. Um, Yeah, I love that Velva Dawn was talking about working in the hospital because I have a nursing background as well. I've worked as a
Mhm.
nurse for over 18 years, and when I went into that career was because like many people in healthcare, wanted to help people, right? Like it was like, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna help people. And one of my aunties, she was a community health nurse, and I got to shadow her in high school, and I just saw a little glimpse of what that could look like. And I was like, okay, like this is something that I could see myself doing. And it was a pretty rude awakening for me when I got into the field. I was in my early 20s. I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and like, just excited to like change the world, with my new nursing career. And very quickly I realized that, at the end of the day, it is a position, it is a job description, and I'm there to do a job. I'm not really there to, make deep connections with my patients or anything like that. And even further from that, I actually had to learn to kind of desensitize. I had to like disconnect myself from my feelings because there was a lot of, I ended up working in geriatrics. And so there was a lot of like, just sadness in the job. And I'm a highly sensitive person. I always have been, and here I was, like I said, in my early 20s, and I remember my first patient like that passed away on me, and I was devastated, like devastated. And one of the older nurses, the senior nurses, because I went into the nursing office to like cry because I was so upset about this situation. And she basically told me, you need to suck it up because this is your career. And if you're gonna react like this when you have patients, passing away, you're gonna have a very long and hard career. And I was just like, I just remember that moment. It was like, when you're a child and you kind of like take a breath after crying, like and I was just like, I just did that. And I was like, okay, so I guess this is what I got to do. And so, just very much disconnected myself from the soul, of the work. And then that went all the way until I started having babies. And so when I became a mom, went on maternity leave, came back after a year of being away from that, suddenly I was like a blubbering mess. I had defrosted, I had thawed out in my first year of motherhood. And and right away I started feeling things again, and I was like, whoa, I was like so surprised by this, right? And then that in that moment I knew I can't be doing this for the rest of my life. Like this is not something that yeah, I don't want to go back there again. I don't want to like have to disconnect from myself and all of that kind of stuff, right? And so, now with the work that I do, it's so hard to explain how gratifying it is. And I think Velvedon kind of mentioned a little bit about this, how there isn't like a blueprint or a path. It's very like I like to look at the work I do with the women that I work with is very co-creative. Like we co-create together, like it's not like this is the method, this is the steps, step by step. It's like, we get to know each other, and I'm there to like champion them and help them and support them and all of that kind of stuff, right? And it's just so different, right? Not to, go against, because I still do nursing work very, very, very part-time, but it's different, it's different. And I see the difference between, me being there, for the 8 hours of my day, getting my tasks done, and then I leave, and then I sit in front of these incredible women that I serve, and I see the transformation before my eyes, and it's just a night and day difference, and that is just in the best way that I can explain, the difference between kind of the soul ed and like a typical kind of career or calling, right, that you might have.
Yeah, I can definitely identify with that. But I will say, when I was a manager, I had a policy anytime a baby died in our presence, that person got to go home so that they
Mm,
could grieve on their own time. It was
mhm,
just, I figured out staffing. It was just not something that I think everybody should have to or should have the opportunity to mourn in the way that they preferred. And some people preferred to stay because they needed that community to help them through it that understood, and some people preferred to go home. And I think honoring our preferences in situations like that is really important. And I think that's what we bring to our soul-led businesses, right? We help people tap into their preferences, their stories, their patterns, their way of going through this world instead of it has to be done this way, which is
mhm.
what we've all been taught. So, very beautiful reflection. Who wants to go next?
I can go. So the interesting thing is conventional is you have your times, you have your lunch breaks, everything is scheduled. And what I have found with the soul led business is I actually work more hours than I would have worked in the conventional, in the hospital system. But there's a fire. And when I'm in a fire cycle, like I just finished a workbook that was 75 pages in one day.
Mhm.
And it's like this internal creation that you're birthing, and you can't force it. You know, you have to wait, you have to feel it out, and you have to know when you're going to launch. It's not, okay, we're going to launch this in 3 months because that's what it looks like in our yearly forecast. You just have to go with your internal flow, you know, looking at what's happening with astrology and really the heart base. So that's what's so different from me is it's about frequency, not a formula.
Mm.
And it's all about that internal following. So I love it because, you know, very much like Abby said, it's like watching the women shift in front of my eyes is the greatest blessing and gift that I've ever experienced in my life. And it's the fulfillment that I certainly didn't receive in a conventional system. So there's just so many positives in being in the soul led business.
You said it's a frequency rather than a formula, and I love that because every time I desire a formula within the business, my frequency takes over, and there's no formula because I'm so cyclical with my cycles. I have down times, I have up times, I have extremely busy working times when I'm in my certain parts of my cycle, and I honor all of that part of me now. And so I block off whole parts of my day sometime because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just so tired today and I need to rest. And then other days I'm working 16 hours a day because I'm just like in the flow and I'm loving it, right? And I think that's the part that's missing from most conventional workspaces is if we could work in alignment and get the work done, how much more productive would we really be? And how much happier would we really be? Could we throw that load of laundry in if we all worked from home for the most part? A lot of us couldn't, you know, obviously there needs to be nurses at the bedside, right? But or medical coders, but a medical coder could work from home. So, you know, it's just one of those things where it's a shift in mindset. And anyway, all right, Eva, what do you have to say?
I really love what was said already, and I agree with all of that. Yeah, with the corporate, and I did come from the corporate myself, as well. Yes, there's that part of the 9 to 5 where you are somewhat stuck on what you're doing, and a lot of times you're doing the mindless work that you don't even know what exactly you're doing it for. And then you go home and you're tired, and it's like this part of your soul was sucked out because you were stuck in the office for the last 8 hours, plus spend about two hours on the commute here and there to go to the office, to come back from the office, and all of that. With the soul-led businesses and entrepreneurs, this does not exist because you always know what exactly you're doing. When you're doing it, there's the intention behind every single action that you're doing. And just like Velva Dawn said, yes, sometimes you might work 16 hours, and just like you, Nicole, mentioned as well. But at the end of those 16 hours, there's still fire inside, there's still energy inside, and it feels like you can go for 8 more and don't even sleep because you are in this creative flow. You're birthing something out of you that you know will serve the world in such an amazing way that there will be more people who are happier, who are healthier, who have better relationship, who have better finances even. They feel more abundant in their lives as well. And that's what the solar business is all about. And the more we can do that, the more we can bring it on to the world, the more we can raise the frequency as well by being ourselves, by spreading all of this, by creating the ripple effect. And yeah, that's the essence of the solar business at the end of the day, to spread that ripple effect.
Yes, I love this so much. Okay, speaking of the ripple effect, we have 5 more minutes. And I always love to leave with something tangible for that person who is listening today, saying, yes, this is what I've always wanted to do. I want to have my soul-led business, or they already have it and they want to take it to that next level. So what would be one takeaway for them that you would want to give as encouragement to take that leap? As you can tell, we have different women here. Abby's still very part-time. That's possible, right? You don't always have to completely leave 100%. You can sometimes have your toe dipped in somewhere else. But what would be your one piece of advice if somebody wanted to run their soul-led business?
I think for me, number one, listen to that nudge, listen to that longing, and just do it. Like, just don't allow for it to die with you, like, and on top of that, in addition to that, I think it's so important to find the right support and guidance in your journey because you can do it yourself and, fail a lot of times, learn a lot, you learn a lot, which is what I did until I eventually got around, the right type of supports, mentors, coaches that could really help guide me, because I didn't know anything what I was doing. Like I was like, I just knew I had a dream and it started off as a little seed, that somebody had planted in me. They saw somebody, there were several people in my life that saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself, but I listened. Like that was the seed that was planted, and then I watered it, and then I nourished it, and then eventually it started to blossom and bloom into something like this big, massive dream that it couldn't have even imagined, right? And yeah, just definitely surrounding yourself with the right guidance and support. And a fun way to do this is look at somebody in your sphere of influence and, see like what kind of life they have, and like, is that something that I want? And if that's something that you do want, you see if you'd be able to connect with them and some form of guidance and mentorship, right? So that they can teach you how to do that, right? And that has catapulted my business significantly than rather doing it by myself because, there's that saying that it's lonely at the top. But if it's lonely at the top, you did it wrong. You did it wrong. Like you should be surrounded, with your people and, the people that are closest to you and that have guided you and then the people that you've impacted and the ripple effects and all of that kind of stuff, right? And so that would be my two key pieces that I would share with somebody.
Let's have Velvedon go next, just in case you need to hop off the call, because I know you have another engagement.
Yes, thank you. So I totally agree with what Abby is saying. For me, it was finding my tribe, finding the women that also had their toes already dipped into where I was going and taking the leap. And I just kept surrounding myself with that sisterhood. And then I felt like I had a community. So, and I have to say, she said what I was going to say is find a really strong mentor who taps in, helps see your blueprint of the greatest expression of who you are meant to be. And just it gives you that inner strength and listen to those intuitive hits. Don't be afraid to take little steps rather than one big step, because sometimes the little steps make it easier for you to launch into it. And it helps the people around you and your family to see the transition of who you are. And then I think it's just like weaving a tapestry. It's like you put one piece together and then other pieces start moving in so you get a clearer vision. And sometimes don't be afraid to make a change. If you think you start doing one thing, you get in there and you're like, you know what, this doesn't really fit. Don't be afraid to make a change because the change is the building block to something greater. So that's what I would say.
Yes, I love that so much. Don't be afraid to change. That's the best part about being the
Yeah.
CEO of your own business is you don't have to deal with all the red tape and approvals and waiting for people to approve this policy and so on and so forth, right? You get to be the final sign off on everything. And so that's one of the best things is you can move and shake how you please.
Mhm.
All right, Eva, what about you?
I honestly don't know what to add. as well, because the support is the biggest kind of, how can I call this? Not a push, but like the grounding that you can have, something that if you ever have a problem down the road, you can go back to, and you can ask for a question, you can ask for an advice. Even mentor is extremely important as well, somebody who's been there already, somebody who can truly see your gifts, truly see what exactly you're bringing to our world, to the community, and then help you open those gifts as well. Because our ego, it's, I know a lot about the ego, but our ego is going to fight because it's used to the old identity of being. But now it's a new identity. So it's very important to have somebody to support you as you shift into the new identity of the business owner, as you shift into the identity of somebody who makes all of the decisions and does everything for the business as well. So that's extremely important. The second thing that I also wanted to mention is just talk about it, do it, start doing it, start talking. You don't necessarily need to quit the full-time job right away. Start slow. Just see where exactly it's going to take you. And just like we mentioned, follow the breadcrumbs in the beginning, and then something's going to open up. And I know, based on my own story, and I bet both of the wonderful ladies can support me as well, it will open up as
Mhm.
long as you follow the breadcrumbs. And yeah, just follow them. Follow
Yes.
the little nudges, take little steps, take the little actions, find that mentor, find the support group, and it's all gonna happen.
Okay,
There's
so
just no other way.
what I'm hearing from everybody is build your foundational values, find a mentor, and we will be able to move forward with our own passion to run these soul-led businesses. Don't be afraid to take the leap. You have to start somewhere. And you might as well start by speaking it into existence. That's one of the things that I would do is I would always say, I own a global magazine. I own a global magazine. I own a global magazine. And here we are all over the world. Everybody's different in different countries. And I love it. I get to meet the most amazing women from all around the globe doing incredible things. So if you're inspired, reach out to any of these gorgeous women. They can help mentor you through all of this, and all their details will be online. You can check them out in the show notes, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.